Evening, America, and welcome to another show. My name is David Englishman. Welcome to the David Englishman Show. I wasn't going to do a show tonight, but I ran across some things over the last 2 days I really wanted to share with you. I want to share with you one of the ways, I've already shown you quite a few, but another one of the ways that the extreme left, even leaders, are pushing this narrative on the street to riot and have these violent protests. So, with that being said, let's get right into this. So, a squad member, Ayanna Pressley, says there needs to be more unrest in the streets. So basically, to sum it up, she says here, you need to make the phone call, send the email, show up. You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives. And unfortunately, there's plenty to go around. Again, she says, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives. If you don't believe it, here she is, right here, telling you in her own words exactly that.
Turning a deaf ear to the needs of our families and our communities, hold them accountable. Well, make the phone call, send the email, show up. You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives. And unfortunately, there's plenty to go around.
Did you catch that? So you have an elected member of Congress, one of the squad, AOC's little in crowd of far left loonies. So she's calling for more unrest in the streets. So I've been following a lot of these Antifa and left-leaning pages on Facebook, just to see what they're saying and doing, just so I can get an inside read of what's really going on their side. They always say, right? Know your enemy and study his tactics. That's what everybody should be doing. So I happened across this. So this is a blog called Adbusters, and it's for Antifa and left-leaning nut jobs. So they call this the Fuckitall Manifesto. Number 1, we clean up the toxic areas of our mental environment. Say what? The toxic areas of our mental environment. It says here, make the price of every product tell the ecological truth. Green New Deal. Reverse the upward flow of wealth. Socialism. Punish every corporation that betrays the public trust. I don't know what to call that. Abuse? Because you have to prove, first of all, that a company betrayed the public trust. Considering the government of our country is a corporation, they're betraying the public trust. You can see that plain as day. So it goes on and says, make secrecy taboo. Okay, I agree with that one. To a point, there has to be certain things that are kept secret for national security reasons, but I mean real things, not BS, because you see, they classify everything as under that umbrella, because then it gives them the right to hide all their malfeasance from the American population. You see that? It says, bend the straight line in a wobbly new direction. They're telling you a moral compass, a moral straight line. Bend the straight line in a wobbly new direction. Wobbly? What does that mean? Chaotic. Chaos. That's what the left loves. Discover new ways to live, love, and think. That's their manifesto. That's their creed. So I got into this, and lo and behold, I'm not making this up. Anybody who can go, we're going to get to it, but this is what it says on the page right before the next one, which is where it gets out of this world. They write, imagine then our ability to put millions of activists into the street on a moment's notice to bring wayward corporations to heel with massive international boycotts, subvertisements, sabotage, pranks, hacks, and cultural jams to occupy stock exchanges, take over the economics departments of universities, to swing elections. Imagine having the power to launch global Big Bang moments when 1 billion people rise up and shake the current world order to its core. Okay. So I get to this. Whitehouse Seige. It says start September 17th. Not making this up. It's Adbusters. The Whitehouse Siege, Tactical Briefing number 1. It says here, it's been 9 years since we set off the political earthquake of the Occupy Wall Street, laying siege to New York City's Zuccotti Park and inspiring thousands of similar protests around the world. The Occupy anniversary arrives September 17th of 2020. It's a perfect day to trigger another global Big Bang moment, a massive collective action of the sweetest kind of disobedience. The why hardly needs recitation because for these 9 years the shadows have only grown longer, inequality has soared, not a single Wall Street CEO spent a night in jail for his role in the '08 financial meltdown. Okay. But it goes on. Politicians and corporate criminals continue to savage the public trust with impunity. And all the while, this howling void of a president, his sins too many to name, sits smugly atop a corona death toll that may surpass 200,000 Americans by Christmas. So, I'll read this little piece again. And all the while, this howling void of sins too many to name. They are preaching this from the top of the news media, through the politicians, through their probably paid blogs, to the activists on the streets. These people here set up the protests, and then the activists from Antifa get mixed into the crowd. So this is some kind of crowdsourcing, I'm assuming, but this goes really deep because people at the very top are funding all of this. They're funding these people to get together. They're bussing them in. So it goes on. It says, time again for a dramatic, decisive action, which is why on September 17th, in the original enduring spirit of Occupy, of our fellow citizens will stream into Lafayette Square in Washington, D.C., and we will lay siege to the White House, and we will sustain it for exactly 50 days. This is the White House siege. A siege only works if it's sustained. We witnessed this, the multiplying power of a strategic occupation 9 years ago. You dig in, you hold your ground, and the tension accumulates, amplifies, goes global. So they plan on doing this 50 days from September 17th to November 3rd. So it says here, let us once again summon the sweet, revolutionary nonviolence, right? That was our calling card at Zuccotti Park. Do you remember what it was left like? The streets and the rapes and the mugging. Do any of you remember any of this? I do. It's vivid, and I haven't seen any of the clips. I remember it. It was horrific. The cops had to go in and clean the place out. There was human feces all... Do you not remember this? This is what they want to turn America into. And if Joe Biden gets in, it gets worse. Meanwhile, though, you have people like Pressley and AOC. They're promoting this at their level. So, all of this I've shown you for a reason. Because we get to I want to show you something. So somebody took this. This is deprivation of rights under color of law. Of Title 18 makes it a crime for a person acting under color of any law to willfully deprive a person of a right or privilege protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States. For the purpose of Section 242, acts under color of law include acts not only done by federal, state, or local officials within their lawful authority, but also acts done beyond the bounds of that official's lawful authority. If the acts are done while the official is purporting to or pretending to act in the performance of his or her official duties, persons acting under color of law within the meaning of this statute include police officers, prison guards, and other law enforcement officials, as well as judges, care facilities, and others who are acting as public officials. It is not necessary that the crime be motivated by animus toward the race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin of the victim. The offense is punishable by a range of imprisonment up to life term or the death penalty, depending upon the circumstances of the crime and the resulting injury, if any. Why am I going into that? Is because this is where we should be. Do you remember at the beginning of this, the president asked self-quarantine for 14 days, 2 weeks. Bend the curve. The curve's been bent for like 14 weeks. They're going to. I'm doing these videos because I'm trying to get people to wake up. Start actively calling your state and local officials. When are you going to call your senator and your congressman from your state and start to complain and say enough is enough? When are you going to call your governor? When are you going to call your mayor's office? When are you going to flood these people's phone lines until and they have to bend? They're imprisoning us. And the thing is, and the people on the left, I see so many stupid people with these damn masks. I'm telling you, it makes me sick to my stomach to watch everybody walk around with these masks. All I can think of in my head is sheep to the slaughter. And you want to know something, though? It's not that I feel like I'm made to wear one. But when you go to the store, I don't wear one whenever I cannot wear one. But if I go to the store and my kids are with us, right? Well, the right thing to do is and the kids are wondering why you wouldn't be wearing one, right? So the kids wear them, we wear them. And we're in the store. But if you don't wear them, people will be bold and here they are on one hand, invading their health space, and that you're going to, cause them to die because you're not wearing a mask, but they'll actually walk with you and like toxic waste in your face while they're threatening to beat you up. Meanwhile, they say that they claim social distancing and the mask work. There's a certain hypocrisy here, right? And it's the stupid people like that, okay, who believe all this hype in the news media about this scamdemic, plandemic, whatever you want to call it. I've shown you in past videos on 2 or 3 occasions, Fauci talked about a major administration that was literally within weeks of Trump taking the oath of office. Literally weeks, right? You have Bill Gates is pushing for this damn vaccine with nanodot technology to be able to track you and trace you, right? They say tracing. Tracing is tracking. Let's get real, folks. Tracing, tracking. If I'm tracing something, I'm tracking it, right? They're just words here, right? So they keep saying hydroxychloroquine doesn't work, and that the United States, it's all Trump's fault for the coronavirus. Murphy's Post, our illustrious from and he claims that it's Trump's fault. He didn't act soon enough. I'm thinking to myself, you people are so full of your own hypocritical political correctness, holier than thou BS, right? You can't even BS. You keep spewing the lies until you've believed it. Trump's against his advisors, Fauci. And yet you guys now claim racist for doing it. He's racist against Chinese people. He's closing, right? You're probably hoping that 1 million dead. Because I wouldn't doubt it if you guys planned this. Wouldn't doubt it one bit. You and the Chinese, Biden's in bed with the Chinese. So, I want to show you something, right? So all these people are saying hydroxychloroquine doesn't work. Meanwhile, I've shown you, and it's now come out weeks after I've shown you, that on August 22nd of 2000, Fauci actually wrote a column for the NIH in which they did a study saying that killed by hydroxychloroquine. He puts the drug out there like it's the wonder drug, right? You've got, I think it was Dr. Birx in the Oval Office said that are genetically the same and that this COVID has 85% of the same genetic material as SARS. And hydroxychloroquine killed SARS dead. So understand that what you're seeing on the screen here, right? They're holding us hostage and they're actually violating rights. And the understand that that's exactly what's going on, the better. Because maybe you'll start calling and doing something about it. This shutdown for one reason only. This whole blame to Trump about all the deaths across the country. Are you kidding me? Guys like Cuomo stuffed people in old folks' homes and old age homes, nursing homes, and they died. They almost all died. I read stories, and you can go and find them on the internet. They're still DuckGo. Don't use Go. Never be straight. Lead you all over the place except for the truth. So go to DuckDuckGo and look up hydroxychloroquine and amongst the people, virtually nobody. Locking us down over a virus that's real was probably released, right? The Chinese don't care about their own people. It's a communist country. They kill people. They torture them. They have over 1 million Muslims locked up in education camps. Do you think they probably enjoy sacrificing 1 million or 2 of their own population? Think about how many people they have in their country. We're 300. Go to a big city and you figure like people are too close, right? You have your own personal space. Wow, that's a lot of people. So, to them, releasing the virus to Western society and turn everything upside down so that the Chinese can have a big on all of these materials that are going up there to Western civilized countries. I'm sure that they planned this. Take out Trump. They almost guarantee Biden's in. They've already given his kid $1 billion to use and invest here in the States. Right? So, you've got Biden, Kamala Harris, whose voting record in the Senate was more radical and more left than Bernie Sanders. And he's pretty radical. Right? So you've got the two of these people that are now advocating for mass, right? Working with the guy with the likes of, I'm sure Fauci bag in the tank for these people, right? Just things that he says. Oh, now we need goggles. This guy is out to lunch. Mask, no mask, mask, no mask, goggles. Mask all the time. Need goggles. We're going to maybe talk about that shortly. Okay. To show you the next thing, which I think will make some sense to people. And this up a little. I want people to be able to see this. So this, wow, this is really bad. Sorry. There we go. So this is for not use hydroxychloroquine at all. The middle is mixed hydroxychloroquine use, which the United States falls in that category. Use. And it's the countries versus case fatality rate. Okay? So you can see that no hydroxychloroquine and you can see the death rates over here in countries like France, and you can see the Netherlands and Sweden or Sweden. They're astronomical. Then you come over to where it says mixed use. The United States ranks third on the list. Actually, second on the list. Not even. And I'm not kidding. Not even. Look at the other countries. Germany. I mean, we're third, but up probably near the top 1/3. There's countries out there worse than us. And then there's countries that use hydroxychloroquine. So you have Russia, India, Peru, Turkey, Chile, Pakistan. And they dwarf our population. Some of those countries, Pakistan is running at 2%. And we're running at 6.5? About that. So these doctors, chloroquine works. There's an agenda. Politicians, these people in the medical field, and talked about that in show 5, affected by in universities, in the permeated our colleges and universities. It's the medical field, it's in the media, it's our intelligence, it's folks. Formed its way into everything that we're exposed to. And so everything is an illusion. Everything is an illusion. They've turned America into an illusion. It's more of a nightmare. And the people that have been infected, I'm not saying that's on the right. We need to root them out. We need to get them out of our politics, out of the politics body, period. And that committee never should have been ended. Committee never should have been ended. As a number one, deep down, the people who got bought off, they knew in their souls this country was built on something great. And they started raping and pillaging it right at that exact moment. That's why we're... So I'm explaining all of this to you right now because all of this is background noise, right? The riot, the fake impeachment was designed people in both TV sets and in their own personal lives. At one time, over 30 at one time. Do you understand, folks? Are willing to sacrifice and me in the name of power and control. And it's evil. And these people, socialism, communism, but evil. Proof? Stalin. Take your pick. The other one no better than the other. Both devil. And that's who these people work for, folks. So I wanted to show you why we're really in the mess that we're in. Gotta watch carefully and listen.
And all the people that by mail. You know how they give you these sleeves inside, and they tell you, oh, don't, it's going to be, protected. Nobody's going to know anything, blah, blah, blah. Well, now, there are people that probably know this, but I just, I put my vote in, I did active sleep, and that's what the back looks like. When you turn it around, and I just show you the comparison, look at my brother's, who's a Democrat. It says 42-1, the same address anyway, 4212R. Okay, so your vote is supposed to be protected. Nobody's voting for it, but they put R right here and there. So, a person would see this and say, oh, that's an R. Let's toss it. Let's just chuck it, and we'll keep this one. Okay? Now, my brother is a registered Democrat. I registered Republican. It is very important and bring it to the voting places and vote by person. Do not vote by name. Guys, you need to listen to this, okay? Please be wary, all right? If you think that your vote is counting, guess what happened in Virginia? They found fake votes. Stopped it. Thank you, Jesus. See, they got to get this done by November. So I'm just saying, please be cautious. Do not send your vote if you are Republican. Okay? There is no secret, and there is no secret. My brother is a Democrat. And he's going to vote Republican. Thank you. Take this seriously. Do not vote. I just wanted to.
So that's pretty interesting, right? So they're actually that you don't notice what you're registered as. So the only people who might be the independents, they're the swing voters. They're the ones they're counting on to go their way. But they must be really desperate. They're willing to, right on the back of the arm, blatant. That's insanity. Folks, I swear to you, this is the most important election of this history. Founding of this, Thomas Jefferson, those men put their lives, their fortunes, and their reputations on the line for something that they believed in. Wasn't what they penned with 55 men. The human beings who penned it weren't perfect. This could be to give us our rights by our Creator. By our Creator. Even for those kooks who don't believe in God. Okay? Where we all came from, because you really can't prove it, can you? Just like I can't prove God exists. You can't prove your theory, and I can't prove mine. They're both built on faith. But I have faith, trust in that no matter what, I'll prevail. The Big Bang Theory? That's your trust? That's fine. You're entitled to your own right, your own position, and whatever you want to believe. But you people try to infect all of this and all of this crap onto us. Founders penned out a document that gave us life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. It gave us basic as human beings, we're equal, and maybe the country started out. But you something, a lot of blood, a lot of lost limbs, a lot of broken families, a lot of hatred apart during the Civil War. Literally, families go and crack open a history book. This country was ripped apart. Right now, the Democrats, with all of their gains as hustlers and a hustler for a fake crime syndicate. And they're not fake. They're the fake government, but it's a crime syndicate. These people will stop at nothing. A friend of mine wrote me today. He said to me, he says, great content. I said, thanks. He wins. If Biden wins, finished. who served friend, but he said, I see America over as we, and he said, if Trump wins, I fear for his safety. Nothing, folks. He assassinated. But he didn't bring them out into the light. The internet has made them as accessible to us as they are. You know, we've always been accessible to them. They've had our information through for years, spying on us. You want to know something? Now a lot of this information's become public, and we're learning who these people are, what makes them they associated in, what devious things they do, and the little webs that they weave, and the money laundering schemes, and all. But you see, it's the news media that covers it up for them. So I have good news, and I'm good trailers, and I want to show you something before I get to those, because you're never going to believe this. So the other day, I put on a snippet out of a video. Some of you may remember that. That video, because this is what they're doing to conservatives. So the video that I showed you the other night was 2 minutes long of a movie called Shadow Documentary, where is arrested. She has an indictment against her because they're saying that she stole information. Meanwhile, people who she interviewed behind the curtain, get the information out. So they divulged papers and they divulged screenshots and things like this, which she put into the video. Because when you knew this was all real stuff, this wasn't made up. And they indicted her because they're saying she stole into her, but they're trying to do everything they can to cover their tracks. And they pulled the video. I'm not making this up. So I'm going to go click on the link. You can see here it says Shadowgate right there. So this is from my own notes sent to myself. It says here for violating on hate speech. Learn more about combating hate speech in your country. Folks, I watched the entire documentary. There is no hate speech in that video at all. For anyone to watch it within the 24-hour period that I hope you did watch it, and let me know, if you did and what your thoughts. I found it quite fast. Removed it everywhere. It was gone. Finished. So they're sending quiet down and going down to push to get rid of every news conservative thing. People who do videos like me, they're just some politicians, they're even suppressing Trump. With that being said, so I bought this movie last night and I watched this documentary. It's called Hoaxed. I can't because it's a pay for protected item. So I'm going to play you the trailer. Extremely interesting. A lot of hope. Really.
I am officially running the United States, and we are going to make.
How do we explain how this is possible?
How did this happen?
Since election day, questions have been raised about the role of stories online.
There's been a lot of talk lately about
Fake news.
Fake news.
hoax sites and hyper-partisan blogs.
A threat to democracy.
Are in a war of narratives.
things. But I think it's interesting to have someone like Mike doing a documentary about things that has been directed at. You can't really understand how the fake news is.
People who haven't start to identify who's fake
I've been lying about people with friends.
because they know their true story more.
Frank, I just have to talk about what the world is. What is right, what is wrong, what to believe. I think that the media will gin up controversy in an environment that is then people will make that.
Compton State Police has been
Falsehoods have consequences. Unbelievable. I don't understand why I haven't heard of this. In a way, I've never seen that story.
So as soon as they introduced the idea that turn against homes immediately, and now we're doing all of them to determine who's real fake.
So you can actually go rent or buy that. It's actually pretty awesome. I watched it. That gives me a lot of hope that the American people, the ones who still have an interest in finding out what's really going on in the country, if they actually watch this, they might wake up. Very impressed with the content. They did a great job. They take you through everything step by step. I'm sitting here and I'm watching it. At one point, I'm like, I've indicated. So for shows now that the CIA is affected the news media, print, internet, it doesn't affect it everywhere. Well, they played clips from a Senate hearing from looks like back in the early. The guys are being asked by senators whether or not the CIA is involved in the media in reporting news. Absolutely, they're involved in mainstream news. So I was like, I've never seen a clip before, but they get into that I've been talking about with you. So if you're interested and you want to find out more about some of the subjects that I brought to light for you, you really need to watch this movie because it's on point and they expose it. I mean, you can see for yourself it's not fake. They expose media and the news corporations for these people are left-leaning socialists who are pushing an agenda, and they're all that he can't think for himself. Harris is a liar. She's lied most of her political career. She got where she is from laying on her back with her heels behind her ears. So, evil people who are covering for pedophiles in the media and in Hollywood, and those people are covering for all the rest of the right in the bureaucracy and in the federal government and in the House that are out to ransack and rape the United States and give it away. Socialism and communism for their own benefit because you see even some in the end because the people who fought and fight their way to get to the top, those are the ruthless ones. Them ends up another piece in the chess game. We're all pawns. We all start and we start saying exactly. And when it comes time for the election, you show up in person. Seriously, this is your responsibility to. I don't care if you don't have any kids. Somebody duty to their future to make sure that these socialist, Marxist, tyrannical, kissing police state time never gain power in this country. Ever. You need to tell 10 on voting day. You need to tell them not to send their ballots in by mail. You need to show up, and they need to tell friends, and those to tell 10 everybody. Don't think, last time Hillary, lost the election when they were saying Hillary's going to win 100-0, right? And everybody's like, woo. When it came election night, Trump blew everybody away. Don't think for a minute that they're not setting us up, right? Saying, oh, well, meanwhile, they're going to try to steal. Our polling was dead right? Meanwhile, they'll make it last until Inauguration Day, and we'll all be wondering the whole frickin' time. It's going to create so much chaos in this country. Do you understand what they're pushing for? The chaos and the fights and the street brawls. They're pushing for this because you're going to see pissed off people. These riots are in the cities pushing for the time they announced that slim margin and his vote. The people will be so of this bullshit that they're going to say, thank God, maybe we'll have some peace. That's what they're counting on. Exactly what the left is counting on. Mark today's date. That's what they're. Mark my words. All right, folks. I don't want to. So I'm going to show you another trailer. This one here is not out yet. And I was actually asked to join the page, so I did. This looks actually really good.
There is an illusion being created using the most awesome tools and the greatest intelligence against our enemies. Now it was being deployed against the American people and the president.
This political scandal in modern history, which makes it look like
The FBI director has left you. Now they love them. This can happen to General Michael T. Imagine who has a single strike against them. 30 that's in the prosecution.
Wasn't a pursuit of criminal activity.
And actually, so he was talking about going after people's bodies. Terrified.
media didn't start as neutral. Media hasn't been neutral all its life.
Coming up, in fact, through WikiLeaks, that she says one thing.
They worked hand in glove with Comey to try to delegitimize Trump. They were not there to tell the truth.
A political dirty trick is being carried out by our intelligence community.
Honestly, not really. Realistically, what to think about this document?
They said, nothing here. Doesn't matter. We'll keep the investigation. Importantly, we will go on TV day in and day out and lie to the American people to their face. To us.
The nation and all of our freedoms hang by a thread, and the military apparatus of this country is about to be handed over to scum who are beholden Russian scum.
We had not one had or had seen evidence of Trump colluding with the Russians. In the forest. He was mocked. He was attacked.
That we, which all Gate was a false story.
To carry out their insurance policy.
I believe that this is a conspiracy.
These guys have perpetrated the greatest crime against the American people ever. It was a.
This is how sick and twisted these.
That on numerous occasions, the intelligence community, U.S. citizens involved in this transition.
Some of the that was done to hide That's not what happened. There were more meetings. There were more leaks. There were...
The thing that they were investigating the Trump campaign for is themselves were doing, not just the Democratic Party and their operatives, but also the FBI.
The time frame that we lived in. Now, I was supposed to happen. They weren't supposed to know. The entire time this was going on, they thought this was going to be what sunk the Donald Trump presidency. And they were just looking for the golden goose around it because it doesn't exist.
That one looks good. But now this is the second video. Oh, nope. Third video to talk about the CIA involved in the corruption that's gone on in the media and how they're the ones for all of it. If you read a lot of the stuff and what Epstein was, this is a of proportions never seen before. And news media, a lot of Hollywood's involved beyond that, right? Because the news involved blackmail, whatever they want, spooks from that have infected shares. So they're just fed the propaganda. They work for them, and they're into it. They believe in all of this lefty, socialist, communist. If you don't, then wrong, and you need to start really doing some research for yourself. And I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm not saying that at all. When you get out there on how deep this web goes, Mueller lied. Ray, what's going to happen to him? Cleaned up. He's had 2 years now. How come he hasn't cleaned it up? We still have stuff being withheld or leaked. It's insane. So again, folks, you need to go out and vote. You need to tell your friends to go and vote. And you need to know what's going on as possible. You need, and how do I put this? That is not called on election night or the following day. You better use an ammunition because go to hell in a handbasket. Imagine. Look at what's going on in Portland and Chicago, LA. Look. Imagine this on a grand scale across the nation. Left pitted against right. What's going to happen? People are going to get pissed off and frustrated. They're going to be saying that we stole the election, and we're obviously going to look at all the evidence that's been given us thus far, right? And say, way. And it's just, it doesn't matter which way you turn. It's a shit show. Get out there. Because if enough of us get out there and vote, and it is a mass turnout, they can't deny us our win. Trump in there for 4 more years. Man, don't care if you look at his policies, look at the promises, look what he's done for minorities. Look at all the jobs the Spanish for teens, for black teens, for it's what he's done to this country is remarkable. People started feeling like Americans again. I remember in the 70s, and it felt good to be an American. Crowd were they were all into this socialism crap because they were the first one who got indoctrinated. And that was the 60s movement. Over. And you're still seeing that movement get deeper and deeper. become the professor, the head of the union. They have infected these children, and these children chaos and mayhem and destruction and death and burning and looting. We need to find a way to stop it and get people sent to prison over what's happened. Our government back in. To government by the people and of the people. We have a right to take it. So show up on voting day and bring 10 friends. All right, folks. If you like tonight's show, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. So hit the subscribe button. Click the down button right below the video. When you see all the other videos below it, click that little down arrow and it'll show up all I've been speaking about in the videos that I post. So have a great week and God bless you and your family. Good night.